For the last half-century, an elite organization called the Bilderberg Group has met annually all around the world in total secrecy, behind closed doors and with no official press coverage. It started in 1954 when the world's most powerful people joined forces in the Netherlands at Hotel Bilderberg, where Prince Bernhard, a former Nazi party member, was integral in its formation. Last year it was in Zurich, Switzerland. It was believed that the group discussed how to handle the Arab Spring at that conference. And this year they're meeting in the wealthy city of Chantilly, Virginia, right next to Washington, D.C. The group is comprised of 130 or so of the world's top elites in politics, banking, food, oil, media, and national defense. Some of the most notable attendees have been Ben Bernanke, Bill Clinton, Timothy Geithner, Bill Gates, Tony Blair, and Colin Powell. Others include Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands, Prince Charles, George Soros, and Alan Greenspan. Henry Kissinger and David Rockefeller are integrally involved as members of the Bilderberg Steering Committee, which is responsible for carefully crafting who will be attending the meetings every year. Some have called the Bilderberg Group a harmless think tank or just a discussion group, but people who have been following it for years say there's something much more sinister at the root. They claim that the group gets together to plan world policy for a new world order of global domination at the subjugation of the rest of humanity. Unfortunately, you won't hear much of a peep about the group's dealings or even the existence of it on the corporate media. This could be because the media moguls that have attended are sworn to secrecy. Check out what Rockefeller has said about the media coverage of Bilderberg. In his memoirs, multi-billionaire David Rockefeller said, quote, "Some even believe we're part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a much more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. And if that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I'm proud of it." He also allegedly said that he's grateful to media outlets like the Washington Post, the New York Times, whose magazine directors have attended their meetings and promised to keep it discretionary for almost 40 years, saying it would have been impossible for the group to develop its plan for the new world if it would have been subject to the lights of publicity during all those years. And while the public might not know exactly what's going on there, many people agree that the people who attend the meetings are the world's most powerful movers and shakers. Just take a look at this Drudge poll. It's a poll conducted to ask people what they really think of the Bilderberg conference. Over half of the people that polled said that the people who attend the conference are the real power masters of the world. 14% say they think it's just a false conspiracy theory, and 35% say it's a little bit of both. Nonetheless, the secret meeting is definitely coming more and more into the public eye, whether the participants want it to or not. Meanwhile, while Bilderberg attendees were questioned by independent journalists about what really goes on there, they completely skirt the issue or even deny having attended in some instances. So what is really going on in these meetings? Well, all weekend I'll be in Chantilly, Virginia, covering the Bilderberg Group to see if we can get a scoop about what the people there are thinking. Thousands are expected to protest, and they'll be there in protest at the conference, and I will be getting coverage and getting back to you on that.
All right, we want to go now to a story that we've been covering for quite a while now. Actually, one of our regular guests, Alex Jones, has been covering it for more than 5 years. I'm talking about the Bilderberg Conference, the meeting of bankers and billionaires kept secret, totally secret for years. Then sort of under the radar, and now it's a little more well-known. There are actually mainstream publications that have been writing about this. You see Politico, Salon, Huffington Post, The Guardian. They've now been writing about some of these headlines that it does actually exist. And we have someone on the ground there as well. So let's go to RT correspondent Abby Martin. She is live in Chantilly, Virginia, outside of the hotel where the conference is being held. Abby, I see you got your umbrella now. I guess the rain is back. Talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing today on this day. Have the bankers and the billionaires, have they arrived already?
Well, yeah, there was actually someone saw Kissinger himself yesterday arrive. There have been people arriving all day. There's footage of multiple politicians online already, catching them in the act, coming into the conference. It's severe thunderstorms right now, so it's a little bit intense out here. It's kind of pushed some of the protesters back. But RT is out here on the ground, like we are at all these places. The mainstream media is nowhere to be found, though, however, but we are still here reporting. There were hundreds of people here earlier. A couple of them have dispersed right now, but there's expected to be hundreds, if not thousands, tomorrow. as it becomes more sunny and the weather turns better.
So there's no sign of any sort of mainstream media outlets there?
No, none.
Why do you think that is?
Absolutely none. Well, you know, when there's corporate media moguls who are actually involved in the conference and they're supposedly sworn to secrecy, we have reported quotes from Rockefeller himself, which is on the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group, saying that these media moguls who they hand select every year to come to the conference, they don't want them to be, they want them to be discretionary with this information. And, you know, the corporate CEOs of these media corporations are intricately involved with policy that's being planned and with these, the people who are colluding together. So that's what people are out here protesting about. 140 of the world's most elite royalty, politicians, banking, defense, all together in Chantilly, Virginia, right now in the Westfields Marriott behind me. Yet you do not see the corporate press here covering it. Why is that? I mean, you just have to ask yourself, why is that?
You know what, Abby, break down for us a little bit of what you know, what you can tell us about Bilderberg. I know it's not in Chantilly every year. It sort of switches locations. You know, just kind of give us the nuts and bolts, how long this has been going on and sort of the evolution that it's taken on over the years in terms of coming out of the shadows.
Sure. Well, it started in 1954 at Hotel Bilderberg in the Netherlands. And ever since then, annually, every year, 140 of the world's most elite people in all these industries have been meeting in different locations around the world. And that's why it's so hard to follow them. It's very secret, very under wraps, behind closed doors. And just recently, I mean, as you said in your intro, just recently this year, we see corporate media establishments at least putting it in the headlines saying that this exists. I mean, before, you didn't even hear a peep about it even existing. We hear NATO going on, G8, all these world summits of all these leaders, yet the Bilderberg Group is completely under the wraps. And so that's why people have been following them every year, citizen journalism, people like Jim Tucker, Alex Jones, other citizen journalists who've been following these people and chasing them down all around the world to try to find out what really goes on in these meetings and why is it so secret.
And why is it that there are protesters out there, Abby? I mean, I know there were a bunch out there yesterday. We spoke to you earlier. You said there's even been arrests. Why do people care that this secret meeting goes on?
I think people care because it's policy that's being planned that affects the rest of the world. I mean, every year that this happens, there's policy that happens after that people speculate, was this planned in the Bilderberg meeting? I mean, we saw in 2008 when the Bilderberg meeting was here at Chantilly last time, Obama skirted his press corps away in a different plane, met with Hillary at an undisclosed meeting all weekend in Virginia. I mean, and then you saw her in a high-level cabinet position in his government. Also speculated John Edwards was picked to be the VP running mate in 2004 at Bilderberg. North American Union, the Euro, all these different elements of policy people have speculated have come out of the Bilderberg meetings. 130 of the world's most powerful people don't just get together to just talk about sports and whatever else and American Idol. I mean, they're getting here together to talk about policy that's going to affect the world. And also, protesters are here mainly protesting what they call the violation of federal law. It's something called the Logan Act, where foreign diplomats are not supposed to get together with politicians to collude about without congressional oversight. And that's really, I think, the main crux of why people are upset. Because there are politicians meeting with foreign diplomats talking about who knows what, we don't know.
But as far as you know,
privy to the information out.
As far as choosing, you know, vice presidential candidates and, you know, like who's going to be on whose cabinet, where do some of those protesters think that this should be happening? I mean, it doesn't, there's no law that says it needs to happen, you know, in the Capitol building. You know, I'm sure it happens at fancy restaurants as well. But what's really wrong with some of these decisions being made there?
Well, Christine, I think it goes beyond just talking about, you know, like a boys' club, like, oh, you know, I want you to be my running mate this year. I think it goes beyond that because when you look at Rockefeller's memoir, he says, you know, and he's on the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group that picks these people every year. They're the shining stars of the elite that they've handpicked to come to these meetings, and they're different every year. But what he said was that if people accuse him and his family of running a secret cabal against the American interests, then he stands guilty and he's proud of it. I mean, so you have to look at quotes like that from the people who are actually in the steering committee of this group and ask, so what else is going on? It's not just VP running mates. It's not just politicians talking about, hey, you know, maybe you can have a seat at my cabinet. It's actual policy that that they say, the protesters here say, subjugates humanity. Talking about how to control Occupy Wall Street, talking about how to control the Arab Spring, talking about one world currency, a one world government. These are the things that are really important that they say is being talked about right here behind closed doors.
Well, Abby, we sure do appreciate you standing in the rain for us, kind of sniffing out what's going on, talking to the protesters. It's good that finally some media are giving this attention, if nothing else, acknowledging, hey, this is actually happening, even if we can't get inside. Abby Martin, RT correspondent there for us in Chantilly, Virginia.
National sovereignty will prevail. You will ask for a new world order. Good call. Globalist scumbags. J-Wall. Why you scumbag? We're not your slaves. We're not your slaves.
Hey, that's real too.
Protect the global elite. Please shepherd us like some sheep.
Yeah, right.
Hey, what about the driver that went through here? What's going to happen to him?
That's a good thing.
Yep. Go ahead.
That's assault with the to protect pedophiles through
Chuck Norris is
But that's the case.
Remember there, officers, you took it.
Protected.
Why do you hate freedom, Sergeant? Why, Sergeant?
Guys, don't block the road.
I knew that. Public
You guys need to stop drinking the fluoride. Get rid of our sovereignty and tear our Constitution in half. And down with anyone who goes with them.
Times. You keep lying to me.
We don't want you to get hit by a vehicle.
Oh, is that what it is? Well, I don't want you to violate the law.
Give him your badge number, he'll leave you alone.
Yeah, I'm
It's in the new world order. Who's the one to blame when your dollar's worth a quarter? Bankers, politicians, and the new world order.
Shut.
Aiding and abetting the criminals. The criminals for you as they begin arriving in the next few hours. It's Bilderberg 2012, Chantilly, Virginia. The people strike. Hey, are you here for the Henry Kissinger lookalike contest? The elite.
We're from Virginia, so I have to work.
Oh, you're going to guest parking. You're not a building. Join us. Oath Keepers is the website. People do. Got to build a journal.
Every year, about 130 of the world's most powerful elite players in banking, mining, oil, food, media, and defense and politics meet in secret behind closed doors without any official press coverage. This year, they're meeting in Chantilly, Virginia at the Westfields Marriott. It's called the Bilderberg Group, and hundreds of protesters are here right now protesting the secrecy.
Politicians and the new world order.
Some of the protesters speculate on why it's so secret.
When you're discussing foreign policy, you're talking about manipulating the prices of oil, the price of gold. When you're trying to select presidents and prime ministers and these sorts of things, it has to be done in secret because these are the things that the people are not necessarily for.
Even though no corporate media was present, there was a multitude of citizen journalists covering the event.
Good works are done in light, so what's done in darkness needs to be brought to light, and something like this, like the Bilderberg meeting, should be exposed, and it's up to us, citizen media, to be out here and expose this.
We don't want you to get hit by a vehicle.
Oh, is that what it is?
Other independent journalists have confronted members of the Bilderberg Group to try to get answers themselves.
Sometimes they just straight up lie. Sometimes they catch themselves in lying, and it's very interesting. It's very telling. I mean, people can make up their own minds. When you see a Bilderberg member being confronted by a journalist about what they did here, the reaction is very telling.
Alex Jones, host of The Alex Jones Show, speculates on the policy that's being planned at the Bilderberg meetings this year.
They're trying to push a global bank as the solution to all our problems that they created. They're openly trying to push more police state systems. They want to end internet freedom. They want to bring in internet IDs. Members of the Bilderberg Group have said this.
Others say that the Bilderberg Group is not so much a nefarious conspiracy to control humanity, but just more a consolidation of power.
The actual conspiring is kind of not a nature of there's a conspiracy for this or for that, as much as a continuous nature of the superclass of the most rich and powerful people in the world colluding to continue and perpetuate their own power. I mean, as simple as that.
Regardless, more and more people are focusing attention on the group, which might have the Bilderberg participants worried.
The people of the planet are waking up and getting past the puppets. This is about saying, hey, the puppets in D.C. are just front men. We can't hold them accountable because they're bought and paid for by these criminals that at these meetings buy them off.
It should be an interesting weekend as hundreds of protesters are expected to join those already here. Abby Martin, RT, Chantilly, Virginia.
Well, secretive and elite. The Bilderberg Group unites the world's most powerful people behind closed doors. It's been happening for decades, and this year it's in Chantilly, Virginia at the Marriott Hotel. The secrecy surrounding the conference has sparked many theories as to what exactly goes on in the meetings. Some even believe it's a venue where the world's most rich and powerful conspire to carve out a new world order. RT correspondent Abby Martin was in Chantilly, Virginia today to let us know what's happening outside of the Bilderberg conference and joins us now to tell us all about it. Abby, nice to see you. So we have a lot of powerful people all in one room. Happens all the time. So what's all the fuss about?
I think the fuss is especially about this meeting. It's different than other meetings because there is no corporate press coverage. We see a lot of meetings happening. We just saw NATO, G8. It seems like everyone in the world knows about that. And there's tons of press, tons of protests. But unlike the Bilderberg Group, or like the Bilderberg Group, let me say that again. The Bilderberg Group doesn't have any press. There's no press releases. There's no official attendee press release out there. So no one really knows who it is that attends or what they're talking about.
And so you were there outside. I know you couldn't get too close, but there were protests, I understand. What exactly are they protesting?
They're protesting the egregious violation of federal law. There's an act called the Logan Act, which says that you cannot meet with foreign diplomats without congressional oversight. And I think that that's really the main key here is people are like, hold on, why are there 130 of the most powerful world players in banking, mining, oil, food, media, defense, and politics? Why are they all getting together and meeting in secrecy behind closed doors without any congressional oversight or really any awareness of what it is they're talking about?
Now, we have some of the most powerful people in the world, so you can presume that something is happening, something important is kind of brewing, but we don't know what. And that's kind of bred a lot of theories. Do we know what they could be talking about?
Well, I think some theories have arisen because of things like the euro, the North American Union, these policies that have kind of been presented right after the Bilderberg Group that people kind of speculate, hold on, were these things theorized in this meeting? And you saw in 2008 when Obama infamously kind of skirted his press corps, which is with him 24/7, onto another plane and said that he was going to be meeting with Hillary in Virginia, multiple meetings with multiple people, and it was never really disclosed what was happening. And then right after that, we saw that she was, a very high position in his cabinet. So people speculate, what's going on at these meetings? Are these powerful political players being picked for policy positions? And it's just completely unknown to the public. And so people are speculating that this year, like every year in the past, they think that they're conspiring or maybe theorizing on how to control the Occupy Wall Street movement, control the Arab Spring movement, and how to control the currency. And I think that's what people are really worried about.
And so, since people can't come in and they can't hear what they're talking about, it is a lot of speculation, a lot of the theories that you just mentioned. But is there any evidence to back up these suspicions or to back up these claims?
There's no hard evidence other than what David Rockefeller and also people in the Bilderberg Group have come out and said. I mean, all you can do is look at the members who have attended. There are leaks, there are moles inside Bilderberg every year that kind of put out
things that were talked about, even though they're sworn to secrecy. Media moguls who go there are sworn to secrecy, but things do come out. And they talk about, they release to the public what is being talked about and what is being said. And what these people say when they're confronted by independent journalists, what was said there, what do you guys do there? They just say, oh, well, we just meet and talk. The problem about that is, when do 130 of the world's most powerful people just get together and just talk and have beers? They talk about policy, and they talk about things that affect the entire world. So the evidence really is the policies that we see after these meetings being implemented. And you just have to look at the people who are involved and what comes out of it. And it's really all speculation. But then again, is it?
Right.
It's really
well, the buzz this year is Marco Rubio. That's what they're kind of talking about behind closed doors, that he will be the pick for the Romney's running mate. Any word about that while you were there?
No word about that. People have been speculating that, and we'll definitely see what happens. We know that John Edwards was picked after attending the Bilderberg group in 2004, and then he was picked as John Kerry's running mate. So people have said, did they handpick him to really run it? It is really interesting, and we see in David Rockefeller's memoir, he says, if people charge me for running a secret cabal, I stand proud of it, and I hold those charges to be true. Against American interests. He said this himself, and he is an integral member. He is the member of the Bilderberg steering committee that handpicks these 130 people every year, and it's kind of like they're shining stars of who they think that they could really pursue whatever it is they feel they need to.
So today is day one of the Bilderberg conference. What's next? Any big protests? Are they expected to grow in the coming days as this plays out?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first year, I think, where Occupy Wall Street and kind of the anti-New World Order crowd have really joined forces. And so we see the Occupy Bilderberg movement happening. We see hundreds of people that were out there today, which was really interesting because it's early Thursday and it's only expected to grow. Alex Jones came out there with his bullhorn right when I was taking off back to the studios, and he just told me, he said, he expects thousands of people, especially on Saturday and Sunday when people are not at work and are able to show up. So it should be very
on Alex Jones to shake things up, that's
exactly.
for sure. Abby, thanks for keeping us updated. That was RT correspondent Abby Martin.
In the new world order, who's the one to blame when your dollar's worth a quarter? Bankers, politicians, and the new world order. Aiding and abetting the criminals, globalist scumbags. J-Wall.
We don't want you to get hit by a vehicle.
Oh, is that what it is? Well, I don't want you to violate the law.
Give him your badge number, he'll leave you alone.
Yeah,
The actual conspiring is kind of not a nature of there's a conspiracy for this or for that, as much as a continuous nature of the superclass of the most rich and powerful people in the world colluding to continue and perpetuate their own power. As simple as that.
As they begin arriving in the next few hours, it's Bilderberg 2012.
They're trying to push a global bank as the solution to all our problems that they created. They're openly trying to push more police state systems. They want to end internet freedom. They want to bring in internet IDs. Members of the Bilderberg group have said this.
Hey, are you here for the Henry Kissinger lookalike contest? The elite.
We're from Virginia, so I have to work.
Good works are done in light, so what's done in darkness needs to be brought to light, and something like this, like the Bilderberg meeting, should be exposed, and it's up to us, citizen media, to be out here and expose this.